Has anyone ever been to a little-known location in the United States of A called Beaver County? Now, I want to go to Beaver County. I love beavers. Not so much a huge fan of counties, but I do love beavers. But anyway, what is vinyl chloride, the chemical released from the East Palestine train cars? So for those of you that did not see this, I saw a little bit about this yesterday, but I wasn't really reading the news so much. And apparently there was like a train crash, derailment, some sort, and it caused this chemical called vinyl chloride. I'm not sure if it's the same chemical used to make vinyl records. I'm not sure. And it's all over the place in Beaver County, aka Beaver County. And basically, if you live in the Northeast, you might have been seeing it in as far away as Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. You might have been seeing plumes of smoke in the form of vinyl chloride. Got some bullshit here. I don't even know what that... From the time that Beaver County Emergency Services opened a dedicated phone line Monday afternoon until that midnight, it received more than 250 calls, some from as far as Philadelphia, asking when the black cloud would be coming their way. The calls began shortly after Norfolk. Some people pronounce it Norfolk. I don't know. There is an L there. It's Norfolk. But I have heard, people pronounce it Norfolk. And Norfolk does sound pretty good. And I understand, you don't want to write down Norfolk, right? You got to have, like, one of those stupid, like, English, like, silent letter, like, I before E, except after C kind of fucking stupid rules, right? So, I get it. It's low-key. So, I'm down with Norfolk. But, it does say Norfolk. But anyway. Shortly after, Norfolk Southern released vinyl chloride from 5 derailed train cars carrying the chemical in East Palestine, Ohio. Interesting name, by the way, East Palestine. Following a severe temperature fluctuation inside the train cars, officials decided to poke holes in the tankers and set the chemical inside afire, preventing an explosion that could have sent fumes and shrapnel a mile outward. That's pretty scary. That's pretty scary. I don't know. I don't know. The idea that we're transporting these explosive chemicals on train cars in such large quantities, though. Are we going to look into that in any way? About 5:30 p.m., images of a fire billowing a thick black cloud captured the attention of the entire region and beyond. Soon the cloud established a horizontal presence in the sky that appeared to hover over the site. This is like some alien invasion ass shit. That's some scary ass shit, man. Beaver County, they're getting fucked. And not in the good dick way. The plume drifted into northern Beaver County, clipping a portion of Lawrence County by the time it was no longer detectable. About 7:30 p.m., it had traveled about 5 miles from the derailment site. According to radar data from the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh, Bill Madazvik, a meteorologist with the agency, said the plume rose to about 3,000 feet. Officials of several Ohio counties urged some residents to shelter in place, citing noxious odors. Sheltering in place when it comes to, I get it, right? It's going to be more concentrated outside the house, but where do you think the oxygen in the air from inside your house, where does it come from, right? Where does it come from? On Tuesday evening, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency released the results of its air monitoring before and after the controlled release, showing elevated levels of particulate matter, but otherwise no alarming readings. Now, again, I just got to say, the EPA, when it comes to what's alarming for them, it's probably like 20 or 30x what's actually safe, So, let's say you have value A, which is harmful. It can it causes more damage than what your body can repair, right? To the point where it's harmful. If you have any, the dose is in the poison is in the dose, right? So if you have a small little speck of some particulate kind of toxic chemical, your body can take care of it and deal with it, right? Usually. But again, there's a certain amount, you get to a certain threshold, and your body can't break it down faster than you're inputting it into your body, and that's when it becomes harmful. Now, let's imagine that's A, and then you just multiply A by 30 or 40, and that's the EPA's alarming levels, right? So the EPA's rules and guidelines and regulations are horrible when it comes to pretty much everything because of, right-wingers and freaks trying to dismantle its powers. So again, if the EPA says it's not really alarming, that pretty much doesn't really tell us anything. What is vinyl chloride? Vinyl chloride is a colorless gas and liquid, mainly used in the manufacture of plastic materials such as polyvinyl chloride, used in industrial settings, and plastics such as PVC pipe. According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, it has a pleasant odor. At high concentrations, when burned, it decomposes into various gases, potentially including hydrogen chloride and trace amounts of phosgene. Now, I am no chemist, so I don't know what exactly the dangers are of all of these individual gases and chemicals. But any amount of something I can't pronounce, probably not good. The National Cancer Institute says inhalation of vinyl chloride gas can lead to an increased risk of liver, brain, and lung cancer, as well as lymphoma. There is no federal standard for how much vinyl chloride is safe in the air. Once again, the EPA, trash, right? They're just not nearly powerful or effective enough to do what their stated job is. For workers, OSHA's exposure limits are 1 part per million over 8 to 10 hours and no more than 5 parts per million during a 15-minute period. 1 part per million is equivalent to putting 1 drop of a liquid from an eyedropper into a 10 gallons of water. Inhaling a lot all at once can lead to dizziness, headaches, and confusion, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, this is just going on. It's not good, okay? Needless to say, it's not good. But it's not just venting into the air. Quote, the cloud that was really being produced was not vinyl chloride, but what it was being turned into, the combustion product, said James Fabius, director of the Center for Healthy Environments and ampersand Communities at the University of... They always have these long-ass titles. I mean, He was especially concerned about phosgene, a gas that was used as a weapon in World War I because it can cause lung damage after acute exposure. Mr. Febisiak said that once it's in the sky, phosgene disperses. So he's not worried about long-term exposure. Rather, he said, it was the people who were near the burn and the plume when it was close to the ground who should monitor their respiratory systems. So once again, we don't live in a world with free healthcare, right? So you can be in a situation where you're like walking home from school. There's a giant explosion. There's toxic gas all over the place. No one gave you any heads up. And now you just have a health condition for the next 10 years, maybe the rest of your life. And guess what? You didn't do anything. It's not your fault. Right? It's one thing. You can make an argument. Poor choices lead to poor health outcomes, right? If you eat a lot of sugar, a lot of fast food, you'll get diabetes, and that's in a lot of ways it's your fault. But we live in a kind of fucked up dystopia where it's like you can just be walking home from work and you get fucking a toxic dose of like a plume in the sky, and then you're fucked, right? And you didn't do anything. Right, you could be the healthiest motherfucker in the world. You can be like vegan, doing yoga every day, and then all it takes is someone else to fuck around, and then boom, and you don't have health care, you don't have health insurance, you got to pay for that shit. So again, it's just we live in a fucking shit show. This is like some dumbass Twilight Zone world. And again, a lot of people there were told to evacuate, but evacuate where? Where are you going to evacuate to? Right, it's just a giant fucking disaster. It's a giant fucking goddamn disaster. And again, I don't even know why we need to be using a lot of these toxic chemicals, and I don't know why we need to be transporting them all over the place, but that's a whole different discussion. But either way, and again, I love how the EPA is just like, whatever. The EPA, call us if someone develops like a third arm or something, you know. Other than that, we're staying out of it. But anyway, so that's going on in Beaver County. Everybody, not good. So if anyone did see like the hellfire in the sky, you know, I hope it was cool enough to make it worth the lung damage. Goddamn Norfolk.